Up next in the podcast, we have food writer Matthew Odam, a dear friend of mine, fellow Fish Fanatic, the band, and all-around great guy. Really excited to sit down and talk with him about the state of the culinary world.
I'm great, man. I just came from, well, you don't know where I came from, but things are good. What month is it? December?
Yes.
My top restaurants in Austin came out in November, so that was an interesting project to get back to. Last year I did best new restaurants in the city, which I think some people clamor for because they want to know what's hot. They're like, we know all the stuff that exists, and so, but I think some people are newer to town, and people just want that kind of, we're such a list-based society now.
Yeah, man.
In everything.
Across the board. And I know food and movies were kind of early adopters in that space. I looked back, I started doing a top 50 list in Austin about 12 years ago. It's right around the same time. I think the same year Allison Cook did one, and a couple other cities were doing it right around that same time. So it's been at least a decade that this has been going on. But I really think, especially as AI proliferates and as so many like shitty influencers and food websites and different lists come up. I mean, there's lists. You can Google like best restaurants in Austin, and I might find 20 websites with lists of best restaurants that I've never even heard of these websites. They're not even similar, huh?
They're not even
similar.
Yeah, a lot of times they're kind of old standbys.
Yeah.
I found a list the other day, I won't name it, that I actually I liked and was like, oh, like out of their top 25, like 15 were in my top 25, which is about as many as you'll find. But my point being, you'll find websites that are like Austin Day Plan, like, or whatever. And it's like, I don't know where these lists come from. And so I think it's still important for, I work for a daily newspaper, and so I still think it's important that we have reader service. I mean, you see the Times is doing it, and they're doing it all over the country now.
Right.
But, their list in New York is hugely important. And people want that stuff. Unfortunately, people are going to read that more readily than they're going to read a 1,200 word review that cost $1,000 and took me 20 hours to do research.
No one has the attention span for it.
They don't.
I don't even have it anymore.
What were we talking about?
Reading we were talking about squirrels.
I think hold on a second. I'll look at this video.
Yeah. Wait, let me show you this meme I saw.
Oh, I've seen them.
Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah.
Well, I'd be nowhere without your meme. You're the only meme account I have to follow. You do it for the people.
So many fucking people message me and they're like, "Where do you find this shit?" I'm like, "Fucking internet, man."
You're the clearinghouse for everything.
Great. I'm a curator. What's really funny is when during the pandemic, it was like the height of me doing it, and then I announced Iggy's, and so many people messaged me and were like, "I totally forgot you were like a really good chef. I fucking follow you for your memes." Another person messaged me and was like, "Wait, is this fake? Is this like Iggy's a meme account or something?" I'm like, "No, I'm fucking opening a business." And then the last group of people that messaged me were like, "Wait, I didn't even know who you were. I just follow you because I thought you were a funny meme guy. You're actually like,
you're talented.
You're a talented dude. Like I just Google searched you. I'm finding all this stuff about you." I was like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me."
To be fair, you're multi-talented.
I try, man.
I mean, you're the meme lord and you're a great chef.
I mean, some of those things make me fucking laugh so much.
I
wake up in the morning or at night and I open up Instagram and my algorithm's like, I don't fucking know, man. What do you want? Do you want to see pasta today, or do you want to see like small people fighting? What are we doing? What are we doing here, man? What? Tell us what to do because we don't know.
You hit all my touch points. You're the only person I need to follow because you hit me with food and with memes. I mean, I haven't even had your food in 10 years. When were you at Catbird? 2016, 8 years.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I can't wait to come back.
You're overdue for a trip.
Dude, I follow Iggy's. That thing would destroy in Austin.
You think?
I mean, I know it would. And I texted somebody about it. And I was like, look at this restaurant. And they were like, holy shit. And then I said that would kill in Austin. And they're like, yeah, it's kind of fascinating the city's obsession with heavy pasta dishes, even though it's like 104 months out of the year here.
Yeah. I can't believe the amount of like bolognese people are eating in summer when it's 104 on a patio.
How many seats do you have?
70.
That's a perfect size.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw a place the other day in East Austin off East 6th Street, and I was like, that would be perfect. I saw a place down off South Lamar. I was like, that would be perfect.
It's really, this city is really location specific in terms of if you look at my top 3, 4 restaurants, 5 restaurants, all on the east side. From Cesar Chavez all the way up to Manor, you go, not that these are in order of my best or anything, but I'm just thinking off the top, Bufalina, La Barbecue, Intero, Juniper, Este, Suerte, Calimocho.
The new Calimocho's great.
I haven't been in yet.
Holy shit, it's beautiful.
And it's right across from Kanji, which is one of my favorite restaurants in the city. And then you go up to Manor, Daidue, and Este, like I said. So that part of town is just stacked. Mayor Philip Spear once, so he ran Bon Ami, which was kind of a French bistro diner thing, up on Burnett Road in North Austin, kind of like in a residential neighborhood, but in a really commercial, old 50s street commercial on Burnett Road, but surrounded by a bunch of young families and, kind of yuppies, but more young families. And he was like, I'll never open a restaurant downtown again. And then after Bon Ami closed and he opened up Commodore downtown, he was like, I'll never open a restaurant outside of downtown again. So it's interesting the way things have shifted around in Austin for the past 15 years or so.
Is everybody going back downtown now?
I don't think so, but I think for him, having that foot traffic, having the hotel traffic, having the convention traffic, it makes sense. But downtown's kind of beat right now. Like, I hate going downtown. Commodore's a great restaurant, and there's a couple. La Condessa's still really killing it.
Condessa's so great.
It's great. I went the other night. I put them in my top 25. Rick's been there for, I think, 15 years now.
We're just talking to Fermin.
Fermin loves Rick, and he's a great chef and has and he's really committed to sourcing and to nationalization and doing stuff that he doesn't like. I might have written in there this year, like, they're so much better than they need to be. And of course, it's one of those. It's a good snapshot of like, okay, that used to be a place 10 years ago. Of course, I'm a lot older now than I was 10 years ago. 10 years older, in fact.
Really?
Yeah, I'm 10 years older than I was.
No.
Yeah. And but you used to go in there like before a show, and you'd see like 3 or 4 people that and there's people drinking at the bar, and it kind of felt like a hang.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a place to see and be seen, but you just run into friends, and it was a good hang. Now you go in, and I don't see anybody I know, which is kind of lovely to like, not run into people sometimes. But it's just it felt like a lot of tourists. So my point being, like, it doesn't have to be as good as it is because people are still going to end up there just based off, visibility, curb appeal, where it is. And it's so much better than it needs to be. But yeah, I don't like going downtown. It's kind of a clusterfuck.
It seems pretty hectic, man.
And, I know businesses down there are struggling. Occupancy for towers right now for like office buildings is 75% stated. But those are leases.
Yeah. What's going to happen when those leases run out?
Yeah, right now, I can't imagine that there's 50% occupied in terms of actual warm bodies in them. And so downtown's just kind of a weird vibe. The East is so expensive. I don't know what the rates are right now, but, you're looking at $65 a square foot for triple net. Like, you're like, yeah, we're at.
That's pretty fucking good.
You think
for Nashville
so?
standards? Yeah, that's in line with Nashville. You could probably find some a little bit cheaper. Yeah, 60. I would pay 65 for a space.
Yeah, and on this street, you're looking. We're just off Congress
I couldn't
Avenue.
even imagine what 100.
120.
Yeah, that's in line with Nashville.
I know it's
very
100
much
for sure.
in line. The thing with Nashville, especially after we talked to Rockman, is Nashville they're tearing everything down and building new. So you get a white box and it's sparkly, brand new, as opposed to Rockman had a really hard time rehabbing that place.
Yeah, that wasn't even a food space, was it?
No, it wasn't, and they had problems with the landlords, and it was fucking hectic. Man.
Yeah.
So
no, and from what I understand, working with the city here is really hard.
it's in any city.
That's what they say, but I've heard, because I know people that do stuff in Williamson County, both residential and commercial, and it's a lot easier than it is dealing.
Sure. Yeah, outside of Nashville and Williamson County also. Yeah, there's so many parallels.
Is that right?
Yeah, Williamson County outside Nashville is a lot easier than dealing with Metro.
When I saw you at Catbird, and 8 years ago, I did a travel story about food there, and I wrote that it felt like Austin. I don't know what I said at the time. 10 years later, So I don't know if that timeline's a little bit different now, and maybe Nashville now feels like Austin 5 years ago or something. It's hard because the pandemic fucks everything up.
Pandemic fucked everything.
It probably feels like Austin right before the pandemic.
Yeah, maybe, probably. We still have our work to do, I think. We were just talking about it. I don't think that there's the influx of tech money like you have here.
Yeah.
So
Consider yourself lucky.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't. Every time we call an Uber, it's a fucking Tesla, man. Like, is this going to be the first automated city or?
Yeah. Well, I mean, do y'all have those ghost? I don't know the name of them, Wayo or whatever. Do you have the ghost Ubers?
No. We don't have anything like
y'all
that.
Gotta check one of those out.
We have pedal taverns, man.
Yeah. Those are the bane of.
Yeah.
That sucks so bad.
It's ridiculous, man.
But y'all only have those down like around Broadway and.
We don't have anything. No. Nothing like that.
No, I mean those pedal taverns.
Oh, pedal taverns? Yeah, they're around Broadway. They get into some of the neighborhoods and stuff, but it's mainly like in the downtown, midtown area.
Is there still a bunch of chaos about the gentrification of East Nashville?
No, it's over.
It's just over.
It's genched.
The fight's been lost.
It's genched, yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Austin's, everything's still shaking out, I feel like, from the pandemic. But now we're also there's so much big money coming in. And I think, I've seen a couple international names that I can't name that are eyeing coming here in the next year or two. And I don't know if it's I doubt it's because of Michelin necessarily, but that's going to attract more people here. Because I think, this, you're an operator, I'm not, but if you can come up with the backing to open a place and you're like, with my name, I can get a star. Once you get a star, you're going to do business. So, you're going to make money. And so people are like, hey, let's go throw your name on something and open something up.
Right.
And so I think we're going to get more and more of that moving here. And then you're just getting into weird, like, tech companies that are involved in the hospitality industry, but not through what I consider the hospitality part of the hospitality industry, maybe through the technological part of the hospitality industry. Like, I was at one restaurant that's owned by a tech company, I found out later, backed by it, and at the end of the meal, the service was sweet but terrible. And they came up and were like, hey, I don't know if they gave us a QR code or they gave us a direct link or what, but they were like, if you'll leave a Google review and like $5 off, and then I get this. Like, they were basically explaining how I needed to leave a review in order, but it wasn't even a good review, but like in order to seed like, it just felt like I was inside of an algorithm.
Yeah.
And there was no warmth to it at all. So I don't know what's gonna happen with. I mean, those are the people that have money to throw at, $80 square foot restaurants.
Yeah, but when you're talking about a startup and a tech company, you're talking about millions and billions and trillions of dollars of what they can make from some sort of technological thing that the world needs to use, as opposed to opening a 70-seat restaurant that has a 3% margin if you're lucky. Right. I think that they like romanticize about it, and they're like, yeah, fuck this.
Yeah, then they get
didn't really work well for Mark Vetri and Urban Outfitters.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the hope, is that the problem is once they fuck it up so bad, and once real estate costs so much, the only good news is there'll be all these second gen spaces, but once real estate costs so much, nobody can go in there anyway. So they've overinflated it. So maybe if it all crashes, it would,
I think that there's some problems happening in Nashville right now with that.
Really?
There's like huge building complexes that have been built, and they carved out 100,000 square feet on the main floor for restaurants, and it's been open a long time, and they're not even fucking framing. They have nobody leases signed because the owners of the building, they're not offering anything to the young people, the young entrepreneurs, like, the young chefs and stuff that could possibly get in there and do something, because the rent is so fucking crazy.
Right.
And then the huge restaurant groups, they don't want a 3,000 square foot space.
Right.
And that's what they built it all out for. So they're kind of like, what are you going to do with this, man? You're going to have to like redo your plan and lower costs and give more TI or help out somehow.
How big is your place?
2,700 square feet.
That's great. It's perfect.
It's perfect.
Is a first gen space?
No, it's a rehab old building.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I have one landlord. He's a legend.
It's great.
He's in our corner. Like,
that's what you need.
He
need
is
a legend
so
that's
in our
that's
corner
not trying
with
to
everything.
Make a ton of money off of you.
Comes to dinner, loves us, loves what we've done with the building. very passionate about the building, was very specific about who went in there. We have people above us. There's a couple home goods stores. And he's really passionate about the neighborhood and making sure it's like it's an art district, you know?
Yeah.
So there's like art crawls that happen. And we have this huge graffiti mural. And yeah, he's just like, for me and Matthew's first space, we could not have asked for a better landlord than the one that we got. Like, it is like, there's no horror stories. Everything is high fives. He's in our corner. We need something. He gets it done by the book. Gave us a fair lease, very fair. Not one-sided for him, not one-sided for us. Like right down the middle. And yeah, we've had a great time for the last year and a half.
Yeah, I mean, I think these not him, but talking about these rich people, if they're going to get involved in restaurants, they need to think of themselves as patrons of the arts and not like getting in to make money.
Right. Or some huge developer. Like there's a lot of gigantic developers that own neighborhoods in Nashville, and they're out of New York or something. They're just in a board meeting looking at their books, and that restaurant is a number.
It's just a spreadsheet.
It's a spreadsheet, and with us, this is a human thing that we're doing, and he understands our first restaurant, and we have a landlord that we write a check to and put it in the mail, and this is not some major corporation where there's no face of the guy that needs to help us along the way.
Yeah, know? I mean, I think of all the top restaurants of my list. Like none of them are in kind of big projects or developments, here in Austin. Like you just don't see that really working out very well.
Something happens when you sign a lease for 10,000 square feet. Something happens where you have to attract the masses. And the masses, having a menu and a restaurant design and a cocktail and a wine list, attracting the masses, loses that kind of speciality, the chef-driven type kind of thing, the experimental cuisine, because every fucking dish has to be sold, you know? And I feel like those big restaurants, they cast out the big net and they drag the ocean floor for anybody that wants to come in. It's like, oh, you want tacos? You want sushi? You want bottle service? You want a nightclub? You want a lunch spot? You want a brunch spot? You want BLT? What do you want? We got it. Anything you want, we got. Just tell me what you want. You want a crab BLT? You want a turkey BLT? You want a vegan BLT? What kind of BLT do you want? We have a whole BLT section.
How's there not a place called BLTs?
There should be. There should be.
Trademarked already. I just texted my lawyer, so forget about it.
Yeah.
I think a good example of that, and I feel bad I didn't get a chance. I hate when people say I didn't get a chance to go there. I had a chance to go there. Every night's a chance to go somewhere. So I think everybody should cut that shit out of their vernacular. I didn't have a chance. Like, I didn't make time to go there. I didn't make time to go to Bacala or Gabe Morales' restaurant. And Gabe is one of the most talented chefs.
Yeah, Gabe's great.
Yeah, in Texas. And he had this high-end Mexican restaurant called Bacalar that was inside a tower down on Rainy Street that was owned by the development company, which is Austin-based. And they partnered with him on it. And it was this huge space. And it was too high-end for the masses. And so they closed, and Gabe's going to do something else. I'm sure he'll be successful.
Yeah.
They've converted it into a kind of a taqueria bar and grill kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because that's what you have to do. So, yeah, trying to figure out those big spaces, and I don't know, like, and also what do people flock to these days? And then once they flock there, how long do they flock there? And they just descend on it, and then they leave the carcass, and then
it's
they don't
done.
come back.
Yeah, they don't come back. Right.
And then they're off to go make content at the Christmas pop-up down the street.
Right.
And it's just a shit show.
The Christmas pop-ups. Oh, holy shit, man. For restaurants that turn their place into a Christmas fucking pop-up,
and
I don't get it.
I mean,
God bless them.
God bless everybody.
Yeah, God bless it.
They can
every
keep their
one
doors
of them.
open.
Yeah, right.
I'm more pissed off at like a mom approached me at the playground the other day. I have children.
Fuck, I was ready with one. I thought you couldn't be by playground.
No.
Damn it.
And she was like, hey, do you review experiences or just restaurants? And I was like, just restaurants for the most part. And she was talking about this coffee shop, Mozart's, it's down on the lake here. And they do this big, over-the-top Christmas. I mean, they have forever. And, and it was part of Austin kind of holiday tradition for people. I mean, the city's just overrun Instagram shit show anyways. But it used to be kind of this, central part of people's kind of existences here before we doubled in size. And she said now she's down there with her kids, and people are like saying shit about her kids getting in the middle of their selfies. Like if you're going, like, I just want people to know, like, if you're attracted to a pop-up, because it's like themed. Just know if you're going for the vibes, because like it might be fun to go drink some wassail and like wear an elf hat or whatever the fuck the thing is, or have a s'more just for the experience. 90% of the people there are there for content.
For content, the picture and gone.
Yeah, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
And it's just a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
And especially if you're trying to take your kids to something like
Right.
that. Like it's a bunch of influencers that are not, you know.
Where's the bubble in this? In the social media influencer food game?
I thought it was trending in the right way. I don't feel great about, you know, I don't know if we're breaking news here. I think it's been announced, but you know, Eater is doing away with, I'm not going on the record as saying this. From what I understand, Eater is doing away with city sites and they're going to regional sites. So there won't be an Eater Austin, there'll be an Eater Texas. And I don't know that there'll be an Eater Nashville, there'll be an Eater Tennessee or whatever the case might be.
The Eater Nashville's had struggled to keep writers.
Right.
You know.
So I don't even know if there's going to be an Eater New York City. It might be an Eater New York.
Jesus.
Anyways, so that's a bad sign for food media, regardless of whatever you think about Eater.
Right.
It's not a good sign for food media, not a good sign for media. So as those vacuums start to happen, it's just going to get filled by, hopefully it gets filled. My hope is that it gets filled by restaurants, brands, chefs creating their own content and building their own audience. You know, by hiring somebody, by using somebody in-house, by creating their own distinctive voice. Because everybody's got platforms. Here's the platform. But I think what it is going to mean is that the influencers are going to be filling in even more holes because you're going to have more of a vacuum if places like Eater can't exist. And
right.
You know, if Eater can't exist, what's that say about, you know, I think Thrillist is gone. Like, what does it say about
Time Out has been gone?
Yeah, Time Out's struggling. I don't think it's a gap is a thing. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
And like, obviously, local newspapers have our own problems. But I mean, I know people in Houston and San Antonio and Austin at newspaper food teams. Like, that's a place where people are investing money in local media. Is that, you know, local newspapers are struggling, but the thing people come to local newspapers for, besides City Hall and crime and school board, is food and high school sports.
And sports, yeah.
And
right.
Longhorn sports.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if you have I don't know if people are flocking to the Nashville Tennessean for, isn't that called the Tennessean?
The Tennessean,
for Vanderbilt scores, but I'm sure they are for high school football and for food. So, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
You don't think so either?
I don't think so, no.
So it's tough. And, you know, we still get good numbers with our food coverage, but, you know, I don't have the same penetration there's 50 Instagrammers in town that have more Instagram followers than I do. But
right.
like my job isn't, Pete Wells had like 8,000 Instagram followers.
Yeah, your job is to be cool. Your job is to report the fucking news, you know?
Right. And tell stories, like, you know, and have a little bit more context and more long form. And, you know, I'm not going to go into a place and just shoot a 30-second video and give and I'm not criticizing what they do. What they do and what I do is different. A lot of them. Some of them do a similar thing. But like, and I'm definitely not going to go in and like do something negative in a short form because
on video,
there's just not one on video.
Yeah.
But two, there's just
this place sucks.
Bozo town. Look at all these folks paying all this money. This place will be closed in 6 months.
Losers. I'm out of here.
10%. But on top of the 20, I already.
On top of the 20. Anyway, don't hate me. If you like that content, subscribe.
It's my show. Subscribe button. What are we talking about?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But yeah, I won't make a critical tweet or a critical social, like an Instagram post, just because there's not enough space and not enough room there.
There was so much nuance in
that.
You know?
I did I did a post about a burger at a place from New York. I won't name names. You know, that's, especially when it opened, it was really well respected in New York. I think it's lost a little bit of steam. They came down here and opened up a place. And then I posted about the burger, and I think I said it was decent. And I said it was $23. And I think I said it was the second most expensive non-Wagyu burger in the city that I'd seen. That's just a fact. That wasn't me being critical. And, you know, I got a message from the manager or the owner was like, thanks for the feedback. We're just starting out. And they ended up changing the price like 2 weeks later. And probably not just because of me, obviously, but
they're trying to figure it out.
They're trying to figure it out.
The problem with fucking restaurants is like, you open a restaurant now and you have to be running like you've been there for 5 years on day one.
It's getting on the treadmill at 7.5. Or like 5.9.5 for you guys.
It's insanity, man.
Yeah.
Like on day one, there is no, this is our second day open. Yeah, well, this place sucks. You got to do this. And you know what you should do? How many people came in and told us, you guys got to have this on the menu. You got to have that on the menu. Or you gotta. And it's like, I got to do shit.
It's so, but I have total sympathy. And when people text me all the time, they're like, yo, did you check out such and such yet? And it's been open like 3 days. I'm like, no. Dude. Like, one, I don't do it for professional reasons. And two, I don't do it for personal reasons because I know better. But if I didn't have this job, I still wouldn't want to do it because I know what to expect. But I'd feel bad because I want to make sure people have money so they can stay open. But it's really the only business. Like, what if you went to like Six Flags and it's like, don't go those first few weeks. You might die. You might die.
Right, yeah.
They don't have all the kinks worked out.
Yeah, they're still figuring out the one, anyway.
Don't sit in the last cars all the time.
You're going to make you sign a waiver. It's kind of weird. 2 stars, wouldn't go back.
But the soft serve is free.
The frosting was amazing, and it smells like cookies.
But, it's the only business in the world that I know of that you should go in expecting it not to be great early on.
Yeah.
And that you have to have grace with that and that they're going to charge you full price. I texted somebody the other day when they asked if I'd been to such and such, and I was like, no. And then I said, maybe a restaurant, and I know it doesn't make sense, and I know I'm not, coming up with some new idea. But if a restaurant was just like, hey, this first month, everything's 50% off. And we're going to bust our ass and we might get overwhelmed. Actually, we're going to go reservation only because we don't want to get so weeded that we're going to fuck it up even worse than we already know we're going to fuck it up. So we're going reservation only for the first 2 to 4 weeks. Everything's 50% off. Please, you have to leave us notes on a card what you think or whatever. Or come just talk to us. We're going to come by the table at the end and stop for a minute or two. And if you don't want to chat, that's cool.
Okay, send me an email after. Yeah,
send me an email, whatever you want to do.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, and be like, just know that we're going to get enough butts and seats based off it. The problem is now you're attracting people that are looking for a discount. So you can imagine the Groupon, people that only, that's such a great, it's such a great snapshot in time, 2006, the Groupons.
Yeah, no, it was 2006 to 2010s.
Yeah, right around there.
It was Groupon was if you're doing Groupon, you're done. It's
over.
They're done. It's fucking over, dude.
3 for 1 hot air balloon ride.
What could go wrong?
5 for 1 skydiving show.
It's got bad reviews, but fuck it, it's a discount. I got nothing to do.
It's free.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is I don't like waiting in lines, and I'm not looking for a discount.
The problem is with that theory, I think, is sometimes I go to a restaurant and I don't have an opinion because we were engaged in conversation. The service was unintrusive. The food was good. I don't remember this being hey, this is fucking weird.
Right.
We just ate. It was good. We were engaged in conversation. We paid. We left. If someone were to then follow up and be like, what did you think? I would feel I would have to say something.
Right. Then cut out the feedback part. Just, hey, 50% off first month. Come in, enjoy it. If you have any feedback, let us know.
Yeah.
No pressure. That's not what this is about.
Right.
This is about us getting our feet under us. It's not about doing friends and family for 2 nights.
The friends and family has gotten away from, we're getting our feet underneath us. We just opened. We're inviting people in that we trust and respect that aren't going to go and talk shit about us or write bad reviews or whatever and give us honest feedback. The friends and family has turned into this sneak preview, VIP, exclusive, influencer kind of thing, and we refused to do that when we first opened. I would refuse.
I would if I owned a restaurant, I would agree with that thinking. Or I'd just do a true friends and family.
We did a true friends and family where we invited investors in and friends, and sometimes people came all 3 nights. We're like, fine, no problem.
Yeah,
I don't care.
I'd max have 100 people on that list.
Yeah. I think we did 50 covers the first night, then we did 60, then 75.
There, you're good.
And we charged them. The first night was 50% off, and then it was 25% the other 2 nights.
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably just do that for 3 nights, and then
do 25% off for a month.
For a month, yeah.
And just let people know, like, because if it's 50% off, then you look like you're bargain basementing and you know you're going to suck.
Yeah.
You're just saying, hey, there's a chance this ain't going to be as perfect as we want it to be.
Right.
But, you know, again, I'm talking about stuff that I don't really know about. I've just been around it a lot, so it's kind of an informed opinion, but, like, I'm not an operator. I've been a server and a host at a restaurant before, but you know.
So you're just looking for a deal is what you want. You want all these restaurants to open so you can go in there, get your Groupon deal, and then write about it and say, wow, and then write back. I went twice. I went when they first opened. I went now, and the prices are insane. They really jacked up the prices. It's a cash grab.
That's the other thing. The prices have gone up.
The prices have gone up 50%.
No, the funny thing is I hear from people, like, you know, I know people that get invited to these friends and family thing, not influencers, but people that are just, you know, in the community and, you know, in the industry, and they'll post an Instagram from it and about how much they loved it or whatever, and like a week later they're like, have you gone to such and such? I was like, no, of course not, I haven't. It's like, but like, did you go, or how was it? And they're like, nah. And it's like, boy, you really made it sound great on Instagram
did you go?
a week ago.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Like, but I mean, it's nice that people lie about their friends' places that they don't like, but it's also weird. Like, it doesn't seem to really engender a lot of trust. So I don't know.
It's camaraderie.
It's a weird space to be in. But, you know, you need, I mean, what do you think? You need 3 years of runway.
Yeah. You need the first year, for me and I just talked about it. The first year is you're collecting data.
Yeah.
The second year is you're making changes off of that data. And the third year, the systems are in place. You got your groove underneath you. You've hired more people.
Right.
The owners have stepped away. The chef is now in a management position. You kind of like let it run. Yeah.
So if you're not making money after the third year, then maybe it's just not going to work out.
I mean, if you get to the third year and you haven't made a dime yet, it's definitely not going to work out.
But you need runway.
By the end of the first year, you should be turning a profit.
Okay.
You know, the first, if you depends how you structure it, but we structured it where we were still paying off construction and mill work and, you know, certain people that we cut deals with, to be like, listen, okay, we know we owe you this. We owe you X amount of dollars left. Can we spread that payment out between 4 months? Because now we're going to be generating money and we need capital. And everybody's like, yeah, dude, no problem. So the first 4 months, we were still paying off construction. And then the next 4 months after that, we were kind of like getting in our groove. You know, the food cost was high, the liquor cost was high. Now it's like clamping down on all that and like figuring that part out and getting costs under control. And then the last couple months of the year, I was like, oh shit, we have extra money this month. You know, like, wow, everything's paid for. Great, put it in the bank.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. It's a lot of fun.
You don't have a burger on your menu, do you?
Not yet. As soon as we hired Gordon Ramsay, you know what this place needs? This place needs a great burger. This is a sushi restaurant. You don't know what you do.
Is that his answer to everything?
That's his answer to everything. His answer to everything.
It's everybody's
I've been
answer
up and
to
down this neighborhood. There's not a great burger. We're like, this is a teppanyaki restaurant. What the fuck are you talking about?
Like a pretty good burger.
That's my guilty pleasure is when I'm like laying on the couch and I don't want to think. I put Gordon Ramsay Kitchen Nightmares on, or I put John Taffer.
Is he the bar rescue?
John Taffer's a bar rescue. I can only watch so much of John Taffer because it gets my cortisol levels just spike.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's so scripted, so terrible, so trash TV, and it's just like he walks in.
How do you watch it? Do you have cable television?
Yeah, I watch on some sort of I don't know, some sort of streaming YouTube. I think you're all.
I thought you only
YouTube.
watch memes.
I do. Yeah, sometimes. Well, I'm scrolling looking for memes while I'm watching it. That's the only thing that I can like pay attention.
It is good second screen.
Like, man,
content.
what's crazy ass John doing now? Oh, okay. Oh, the place is dirty. Oh no shit, just like the last one. You know? But yeah, that's my guilty pleasures.
Yeah, I've seen a few places that I really love have added a burger like happy hour or whatever, and I'm sure they're good. I mean, the chefs are great, and I'm just like, oh fuck. I hope it's not the first sign that like, you know, they've only got 2 years left or a year left.
I don't think so, especially for happy hour.
People just love burgers.
Yeah,
I love a burger.
We're gonna do a spaghetti patty, you know. Spaghetti patty burger.
My mom
a nice brioche bun.
My mom was so bad in the kitchen when I was growing up that we would have, you know, ragu, not ragu lowercase r, but the corporate ragu tomato sauce. Yeah. And we'd have that with pasta and the industrial Parmesan cheese on top. So that would be our spaghetti at night, and then the next morning for breakfast we'd have. This is so good actually. We'd have toast with a mound of spaghetti on it, covered in Parmesan cheese, and eat it like a spaghetti
open face sandwich.
Sounds great.
Yeah, now that I think about it, like how weird
Eat it
is
cold?
that? No, eat it hot. Like
Spaghetti pasta sandwich, man.
spaghetti sandwich.
Yeah.
Open face spaghetti sandwich.
Yeah.
Oh,
No one's doing that.
nobody's doing that. Oh. Let's talk about social media. This in Italian is like, yo, like what the fuck's going on?
Fuck off, man. Hey.
Hey. So people post it on Instagram. They're like, oh, I love that pasta dish.
Yeah, I love that
and
pasta.
They do
yeah,
this. It's like,
hey,
no,
that burger was great.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
this isn't. You're using it wrong.
Yeah.
And I know it's nice. Cultural appropriation's great.
I mean, what is social media? What have we used right in social media?
I don't know.
Social media was like an amazing gift to connect the world and put people together. And I reconnected with random people that I worked with in Spain that I thought I'd never see again. And I'm like
great?
involved in their life because I see their pictures and I see their family. I like it. And then when I see them again, we're all caught up. There's no like, oh my God, we just pick
oh, it's Carlos' 5th birthday. Looked amazing.
Oh my God, hey, happy birthday, man. I know I haven't seen you in like 30 years, but whatever, man. And it's really turned into this cesspool of grifting, hustling, fake lifestyle. Like
Austin's
look at
Austin's
me.
like the capital of it.
Yeah.
Of like,
I mean, Nashville's pretty bad too.
I bet
man.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're cousins for sure.
Definitely.
The influencer
They're banging.
bro, like how to optimize your life. Like I'm having a dinner with 8 guys this weekend.
Yeah.
Subscribe now. Like
Yeah,
we left our phones at home. Everything's super intentional.
Here's the list of questions we're going to talk about.
We're gonna cold plunge.
The hustle.
It's about aggressive vulnerability.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to walk around on the ground barefoot for a little while before we have dinner.
It's like dudes that have never known how to just have friends, and it's like,
Yeah.
come meet some friends. It's like, have you been in Austin 37 minutes?
Friends. It's like if AI were to like, hey, can you write me a dinner party of a whole bunch of dudes just getting together?
Yes.
Friends.
Yeah, maybe it is.
It probably
some
is.
of it is just AI.
But it's like the dead internet theory.
What's
you know
that?
that one? It's like the internet isn't a thing anymore, and it's just bots talking to each other. Think about next time you go and look at like some random post in the comments, especially on Facebook. I see it a lot on Facebook. It's just like I read the comments of these like random fucking posts, and it's like these people are commenting. I'm like, first of all, why are you commenting on this? And second of all, it's always some sort of well, Trump will fix this. Once Jesus comes back, it's always like the same things, and it's like these gotta be bots just talking to each other. Like there's gonna be a nuclear holocaust, and social media will still be talking to each other. Bots will still be like, "Hey, where
Come
you
over to our house this weekend. We got a condo in downtown Austin.
Friends."
The only thing that's gonna survive the Holocaust are cockroaches and friends. Success, optimize. And it's ruining the NBA too. Unfortunately,
What? The NBA.
Just because it's so easy to consume the NBA without watching games, because you just watch like the great plays.
No, that's all that I watch.
Okay, I'm good.
Why should I pay $100 for a UFC fight when I can like 5 minutes later I can watch the highlights?
See all of it.
That's it.
Apparently, the NFL is the only. I know this is a total tangent, but I was thinking about this last night. The NFL is the only league that's not really having this problem. And I'm not a big NFL guy, but I think the reason might be is because football is based off like a campaign down the field and momentum and strategy, and people run different kind of plays, and then somebody gets the ball back and they try and go, and you can't just like, you can watch like, oh, a great catch or a great interception or a great tackle, a vicious hit, but they don't really have vicious hits anymore.
But there's
either.
no context.
There's
to
no
it.
context.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
people
Guy
like
catches
to
the ball,
watch a football game.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas NBA, it's like, oh, that guy crossed that guy up and dunked on him.
Yeah.
Because you watch the game, it's 4 guys standing outside of the 3-point line, and then it's slash and kick for a 3-pointer or pick and roll to kick out for a 3-point. Like everybody runs the same offense, and you can just watch highlights.
Yeah, but also like football is like 3 months long.
It is.
Basketball is 24/7. Baseball.
But I'm a baseball guy.
Bro, baseball starts today and ends yesterday.
It really does. The pitchers and catchers report in February, and it ends November 1st.
And it's so fucking boring.
I know, but it's not. It's just wallpaper of your life, though. You know, it's just.
It's like watching paint dry.
But it's nice.
Is it? What's nice about it?
Then you have a place.
What's nice
Then
about?
you end up having a place that's painted.
What's nice about watching a pitcher throw a no-hitter?
What's nice about being in an unpainted room?
You could lose your fucking mind in both cases.
You gotta do it somehow.
I start picking at the paint, start eating it.
Start eating chips. I can't believe I was in this apartment 20 years ago playing poker.
Should we get a game going?
This exact same, the exact
shirts and
same
skins.
I mean, but social media with chefs, like, I don't follow. There's a few Instagram influencers in town that I follow that are really great at it. They put me on spots. They go eat at places that aren't very good because they're looking, and often for like, more niche cuisines or smaller mom and pop places, or Asian spots like the new dumpling spot or whatever the case may be. And I find those very helpful. They're very knowledgeable, but and they don't do kind of generic, not exactly the same kind of generic voiceovers and shots that you get. But I've kind of gone down a couple wormholes of like TikTok and Instagram influencers on food things, and it's the sound of the bread opening, and then that shot, and then the weird like dead-eyed voiceovers, and it's all the exact I was like, where did this aesthetic come from?
So we went to this great restaurant the other day. It's called Iggy's, and it's in Nashville. And what we got was the bolognese and we got the penny pasta, and the garlic bread is really amazing. And I would definitely go back. So I would give it 5 stars out of 6. So definitely go to Nashville.
Like that.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. There's a whole.
Where did that come from?
There's a whole.
It's a whole aesthetic
corner of social media that has that sound thing.
Yep.
And I fucking watch it all the time. I'm watching two fucking Indian guys build a pool in their backyard at 3 a.m. And I'm like, it's like, and they're like, yeah, and they're rustling trees. And it's like, or you get the guy that's like the panned, and he's like in the wilderness, setting up a tent in the wilderness, and he's like making a pizza all of a sudden. And it's like,
but you could do it. It's like, hey, come with me as we take the SAT.
Yeah. The crinkling of the paper, the sharpening. Yeah, like, people love that.
But people can do it. You can do it with, and it's all smash cuts.
It's called something. It's called some sort of sound thing. It has a name. It's like a genre.
We sound like we're 74 years old.
Yeah.
ASMR.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
Yeah.
Like I fucking freak out on the guy chewing next to me at the airport.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, man. Let alone sit there and listen to a 5-minute video of a guy chewing.
My wife came from the kitchen the other night. It was like 8:30, and she sat down and decided to have breakfast for dinner and started eating cereal next to me on the couch. And I looked at her just like,
scratch your fucking eyes.
Yeah, I was like, I'm calling the lawyers.
Are you crazy? This
right
is
now.
It. Get out.
Get
50-50, get out. Take the cereal with you.
No, you get nothing.
Yeah.
So I don't, but yeah, people get off on it, but it doesn't tell you anything about how the food was made, who made the food, why you'd want the food, what the food even tastes like.
But that's not what it's about.
It was so, but even when they do, when so many of them do talk, it's like, oh, and there's this one guy here, I won't name him. I've watched like one of his videos, and if anybody sends me one, I just text them back. I'm like, nope, because I know it'll also like fuck my algorithm. But there's been a big backlash against him. I mean, he's probably got 50 or 80,000 followers or whatever, but he does this thing, and he's not, a traditionally handsome guy. Probably, I would say. I'm not one to judge people by their looks or anything. There's nothing wrong with that, but he does extreme close-ups of his face and like putting stuff in his mouth and like, it's delicious. And it's so unappealing, but it's not because 90,000 people follow him on Instagram.
That's so weird,
and
man.
Half the people.
How many of those are real followers?
I don't know. And when everybody that texts me and they're like, how fucking stupid and terrible is this? And then I'll look at his profile and I'm like, you follow him.
And you like that post. And you're like, my man. And you commented. And he commented back. What are you talking about?
So going there.
Yeah, right.
Hashtag friends. Well, at least I'm going to go write a 1,200 word review about a restaurant now.
Yeah. Jesus, where do you think AI is how do you think, not so much your world, but my world, what do you think AI is going to do to the chefs and restaurants? Yeah. We're in the fucking Wild West, man.
I was on mushrooms like 15 years ago, and I looked at my buddies and I was like, what's the deal with computers?
What's the deal with computers?
And I finally made t-shirts, but due to my ADHD, I still haven't gotten them printed. But I'm going to at some point. But I thought that 16 years ago, I shouldn't admit this, but like I have no concept of technology.
Me either, man.
Like I'm
always saying, why do we need this?
Yeah. I understand storytelling. I understand what AI is doing for some industries where it's already doing it, but to try and future cast, like, when I hear sometimes people that are smarter than me talk about this stuff, about like how it will affect cooking, I'm just like, that doesn't, like, what?
Right.
And I don't know, like, if that just makes us old guys.
I don't know, man. I mean,
or maybe there's not a place for it in the world.
I'm not super savvy when it comes to techie tech stuff, but I mean, I know how to get on the internet, and I know how to. If you gave me a brand new iPhone, I'd be able to figure it out. I know.
Whoa!
Yeah, look at that. Show some fucking
Look
respect,
at Neil
man.
Armstrong over here.
Just throw some respect. I use ChatGPT all the time, and I put things through it, and I have it do food costs for me, and I have it write recipes and figure things out. Like I'm
you have it write recipes.
Recipes, yeah.
What does that mean?
I'll be working on a new dish, and I'll, instead of writing it down, I'll be like, okay, 150 grams of onion, blah 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 blah, and then I'll make the dish. And then I'll go back and I say, okay, let's change the recipe. Let's add this more, add 2% more this, 5% more that. Let's do this, and then print it out in recipe form for me. And then I send it to my file, and I print it out, and I put it right into the book. Easy. And then the food cost. It spits out food costs in 30 seconds. Hey, I paid $59 for a case of eggs. I paid $300 for a wheel of Parmesan cheese. The wheel weighs 22 pounds. I have a recipe that calls for 50 grams of eggs, and I have a recipe that calls for 200 grams of Parmesan cheese, and then here's everything else, and then it'll spit out the cost in like 30 seconds.
That's fucking awesome.
It's ridiculous, man.
That's amazing.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
And you can figure that out.
I mean, I can do that if I had it, in front of me, and I can, okay, this is how much I paid for this, but I wouldn't be able to do it that fast.
No, but I mean, you're able to use ChatGPT to do that.
Yeah, 100%. It does everything for me, man. Yeah, sometimes I'll have a recipe, one of my old recipes that's in ounces and cups, and I'll just read it to it, spit it out in grams for me. There you go.
But you're not gonna. Okay, so if you're a chef and you're like, okay, flavor profiles like rosemary and like brown butter. I want like a rosemary brown butter fudge.
It's exactly what I do. There was a friend of mine.
Not for your body butter, for food.
There was a guy in California, I forget his name. He, 2-star Michelin chef, I think. I don't remember, but somebody that knows him to this, he asked ChatGPT to write a fall menu in the style of the chef, and ChatGPT spit out like a 6-course tasting menu, and he goes, "This is 1,000 times better than anything I would ever fucking write."
The chef said that.
The chef said that, yeah. And so you look at the menu, and let's just look at the menu. And if I wrote a menu and it said red wine vinegar reduction, I know that recipe that I use, so I'm using that.
Who's Red Ryan?
So it's like it spit out and I did the same thing with me, and I was like, oh, I see where they got this. They got this recipe for this pea tortellini. They got it from this article.
Sure.
They got it from that. I see, and my cooking has been across the board since 2005. It's been all over the fucking map. I was doing New American sort of molecular food. Then I started doing Spanish tapas. Then I did a bistro. Then I did super fine dining. Now I'm doing pasta again. So
grilled cheese on the fish lot.
Grilled cheese on fish lot. Heady burritos. Concha balls. Those are all menu
Is that ganja goobal tortellini in the style
man.
Ryan Pulley?
Can you write me a menu in the style of Ryan Pulley with 9 courses of ganja gooballs? All misspelled. There you go, sucker.
Written in crayon. There's a lot of Z's on that
This
menu.
is like, man, it just tapers off.
But it doesn't tell you how to make it, right?
No.
Right.
No, I mean...
And you still have to make it.
I mean, it could. It could be like, hey, print this in recipe form. Okay, step 1, Step 2. But I mean, I don't know how to cook. I just need the ingredients.
So in terms of robots and shit, like, what's the fear of robots? Food prep?
In our world, I don't think so. In the fast food world, there's going to be no fucking reason to have anybody jumping over the counter at McDonald's and throwing things at the drive-through guy anymore, because it's going to be all automated. I mean, it technically halfway is. I went to a McDonald's in New York, and you ordered at a kiosk, and there was one guy bagging things up and then one guy calling people's names. I don't know who was making the food, but there were just 2 fucking guys in there, and the place was jam-packed, and they were like...
There's like a Whataburger Express here now where you have to order on the app, or you can go up to a kiosk outside of the thing and you order it, and then it just shows up in a locker.
Yeah,
like there's no human interaction.
No, so
there's
weird.
Probably nobody in there making, like, maybe there is, but I don't get the sense that there is.
Yeah.
but like robot tortellini, like robot handmade pasta.
I don't think it's gonna happen. Or I mean, I would like it not to happen. I think that going to a restaurant in the style of, you know, Suerte, Emmer and Rye, Iggy's, Rolf and Daughters, like those types of places, there's always going to be a need. Well, I don't know. I'm talking from a 47-year-old. Gen Z doesn't. Does Gen Z go to fucking restaurants? I don't think that they're going to enter into that.
What do you think the average age of your clientele
It
is?
spans. It's in the late 20s to 50s and 60s. It's pretty broad.
That's great.
Yeah, mainly I'd say 30-year-olds. A lot of 30-year-old young. It's a younger demographic.
Yeah, I mean, I think the average restaurant goer is probably 30 years old.
Yeah, but Gen Z is not drinking anymore. The liquor companies are already shifting to making zero proof alcohols and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't want to pay. I mean,
I'm not paying anything. It's juice.
I'll pay
what
14
is this juice you speak of?
But like a $14 handcrafted mocktail with fresh squeezed juice and thoughtfulness on mouthfeel and complex flavors or whatever. I get that, but that's happening at like 2% of the places serving mocktails.
Yeah, and how much are they selling?
I mean, they couldn't, right?
Right.
Yeah, I saw that the other day. It was like, it's self-reported, but like the number of daily THC users compared to 10 years ago was like 8x, and daily alcohol users was actually down. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if now daily THC users surpassed. This is facts you can only find here on the
on the World Wide Web, man.
How we got here? By making shit up.
Preston, can you fact check that? Yeah, he says you're good.
Does that, are your wine sales down?
No. But I'm saying like the liquor companies are seeing a trend for the next 10 to 20 years, and there's going to be this shift of like people don't drink anymore.
Well, I mean, think of what's going to happen with Ozempic and that stuff, like. Because that stuff's going to be, I assume, again, I don't know any of this stuff. I'm not Ryan Thompson. Like, that's going to become more readily available. I mean, I know Biden was pushing for it to be covered.
They said that the clothing industry needs to revamp everything they're fucking doing.
Mediums aren't mediums anymore.
No, they're not.
Bring back the John Stockton.
They're going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. Where did I read this at? They are saying that in the next 5 to 10 years, like, they're going to have to remake all the fucking, like, the way we see clothing now is not going to exist in the next 5 years because of Ozempic. Everyone's going to be like a size fucking -2.
Right.
Yeah.
And, what'll be interesting is that it's a race between food science and Ozempic science, because food science is going to figure out a way
to make you fat.
Just to make you crave it.
Yeah.
Like, that's their whole thing.
Right. To keep you addicted to Doritos.
But Ozempic seems to work, so that's going to affect the restaurant business.
I mean, I don't know fucking anything, but Ozempic's got to be fucking dangerous, man.
I mean,
it can't be.
Nothing in life is free.
It can't. You cannot be losing this amount of weight and just be like, yeah, no problem.
That's why when I see people smoking real cigarettes still, I'm like, respect.
Yeah.
Because you see somebody sucking
like
a robot dick and like blowing out peppermint, and you're like, no.
Like all of a sudden, it's like you're in a movie theater. It's like, why does it smell like birthday cake? Raw cookie dough. What the fuck is going on, man? You're like, oh, someone behind me is vaping.
And 34 people are on their phones.
Vape juice. Hey man, give me some vape juice.
Did you ever vape nicotine?
I never smoked.
You've never cigarette guy?
Never, man. I tried dip once when I was like 13 or 14.
Can you tell when you go to a restaurant and the chef is a big time cigarette smoker because there's way too much salt?
Oh, I can't. I don't know. I just think it's over seasoned. Yeah. I don't get that far into thinking what he's doing in his personal life. Yeah. I taste his. This guy's a chronic masturbator. Like, the fuck? We'll take the check.
This guy's got daddy issues.
Yeah. Actually, let's see the dessert menu. We have the slutty chocolate cake.
I mean, I think, that's interesting. I mean,
slutty chocolate cake.
Yeah. My mind is a buzz.
Yeah.
But I think I think that all that stuff's got to affect the restaurant industry. I mean, the drinking one for sure. Especially if younger people are the ones drinking less, and younger people are the ones that go to restaurants more.
They're not going to nightclubs. Nightclubs are not a thing anymore.
Really?
Yeah, they don't go to nightclubs anymore.
But they'll go to these experiential douchey restaurant clubs that are like vibey. They're like restaurants that feel like they're clubstrons, right?
I don't think so, man.
There's a couple here.
And everyone's like, "Are you go to house parties?" They're like, "Nobody has a fucking house. What are you talking about?"
My friend was like, "Man, we're just old. We don't know what's up." But I was like, my friend was, rides his bike around through the city at night or whatever. He's going places. He's not just creeping around the city. But he's like, you used to drive your bike through this town, certain parts of town, just near where we are in South Congress, up by campus over in East Austin, and you'd feel, even up in Hyde Park, you'd feel some pulsating energy coming out of a house.
Electricity,
You'd
right,
see 7 people sitting on a porch, smoking a cigarette or
with
having
solo
a drink.
cups. Yeah.
Or you'd see people just like with string lights in the backyard, and you'd hear stuff going on. Like, stuff doesn't feel like it's going on.
I agree.
And like,
life seems very stale.
Backyard parties and underground DJ parties and stuff like that. Like, I'm sure there are clubs I don't know about in town, for sure. And I'm sure there's warehouse parties I don't know about. But like, I'm pretty connected to like some people that know what's going on. And like, I don't get the sense that things pop off like they used to, because it costs $1 million to live in the city. And if it costs $1 million to live in the city, you probably have to wake up in the morning, go to work, and then come home in the evening and try and make friends. So I don't know. Maybe all hope is lost, but it makes me love the restaurants that I love even more.
I mean, enjoy it while we can, I guess. I don't know. I feel like there's this race between nuclear
Yeah, good.
nuclear destruction.
President Bush, everybody.
Yeah, fool me once. Shame on you.
Can't get fooled. You fool me.
Fool me 3 times. Shame on me again. I can't believe you fooled me again. There's this.
Now check out this watercolor.
Now check out this drive. Check out this watercolor. Holy shit! I forgot that happened.
He's a good fucking painter, man.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, you got to be a good painter after you slaughtered millions of people across the world.
No comment.
But I digress. There's this race between World War III happening and AI solving all of our problems. And some days I feel like, AI is going to win. And then some days I feel like we're fucked. And then most of the days I feel like we're fucked.
Well, now it feels like the people that are tied to one are tied to the other. So it doesn't feel very good in that regard. Like one is going to hasten the other.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'm just going to keep
writing about food.
Writing about restaurants.
Yeah.
It is an interesting time to be writing about restaurants post-pandemic in terms of, talk about lists and talk about reviews. And, unfortunately, people are drawn to negative reviews more than positive reviews.
Why? We love negativity. I love going in the comments, and I love seeing one comment and like 96 replies, and I'm like, and then just reading what strangers and bots are arguing about. And next thing you know, it's like 3 a.m. I'm like, I gotta fucking go to bed, man. Why am I interested in what these people are arguing about?
Well, do you want to watch The Cosby Show, or do you? Well, sorry, no, you don't. I don't. You do.
Hey, you know what? Their name was the Huxtables.
Right? Why was it called the Cosby?
Why is it called the Cosby? Who the fuck is Cosby?
I don't know. Never heard of him.
Yeah.
But like, do you want to watch Family Ties, or do you want to watch The Real Housewives? Like, people like to watch glasses of wine get thrown in people's face.
Does it make it feel better? They make them feel better about themselves?
I don't know. Maybe in a world where everybody's positive about everything, and people are scared to like keep it 100, that they like somebody keeping it 100.
I don't know, man. I enjoyed Ted Lasso a lot.
I hate it.
All right.
God, I hate it. It's so fucking corny. And just that whole Sudeikis
So
is
negative.
Sudeikis is kind of like faux good guy. And I'm sure I'd be homies with him in a different life. And apparently he played basketball and he's from the Midwest. And like, I think he was the cut up on his team. I get all that. Like, I feel like a connection, some connection with him in some regard. But like, it feels like this pseudo shucksness. Like, let's make something saccharine and positive, and then everybody can pat him on the back and he can do silly dances
on the baseline at
What's wrong with
Knicks
that?
games. I don't know. Good for him.
What's wrong with
Again, I want all restaurants to make money and all
And
actors
want
to
Jason
make money.
Sudeikis to make
I want
money.
everybody to make money.
So-
I love you, Jason.
so
Sudeikis.
what's,
I'm a fucking hater. I'm jealous.
Real Housewives of Austin. Who's your favorite?
Apparently, they sniffed around these parts. Were looking at kind of the suburban towns. I think they were doing like a Real Housewives of like Williamson County, which
Yeah.
is kind of like the Tony, nouveau riche suburbs around Austin. No, but my wife does watch a lot of Bravo, but I don't check out too much of it. But I think my most read review, my most read review of this year was a negative review. My most read review of all time was a negative review. But the things that people read the most are smart, well-researched
Information based.
lists.
Yeah.
Like, what are the...
Give me the fucking information, man.
Where should I go?
Especially when I'm reading a recipe.
Yeah.
Oh, you want this recipe for
God.
coconut oats? Yeah, for morning. That sounds great.
My dad grew up in Michigan.
Growing up as a like
We used to spend summers in Sweden.
bro.
Now let me tell you about my biscuit. I mean, I know it's a bit like it's hacky to even make the joke, but it's like
It's true.
Scroll,
But it's fucking
scroll,
true.
Scroll,
And it's like jump to recipe, and it's like spinning the wheel on the Price is Right.
Right.
It's like
and there's no. I don't know. Like again, I don't know how the internet works, but I don't think if you've got a blog recipe site, like I don't think your ad sales or whatever. Maybe they are. Maybe Google Ads track.
I don't know how any of that fucking works.
It probably
man.
tracks like, oh, they spent 3 minutes on this page instead of 30
tracks
seconds.
all of that.
And
It
so
tracks everything.
the Google ads cost more.
Yeah.
And so you want to keep people on your page, even if you know they're there for literally 20 seconds of information.
Right. Yeah.
I want to get a pasta. I'd like to get in. Once my kids get older, that's the thing I've never really fucked with is homemade pasta.
Why don't you call Arco Bolena and get one of those little small home machines?
They
man?
look so cool.
They're fucking ridiculous. They're great.
You know, I
They're
used
cheap.
to live in Italy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I lived there.
Arco Bolena's in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
No.
Oh, okay.
Italy's in Europe.
Italy, yeah. Anyway.
Anyways, not Paris, Texas.
Yeah.
Paris, Italy.
I used to cold plunge in Italy.
Let's take a class. Get some friends.
Yeah, get some peptides.
The peptide friends.
Where did you live in Italy?
Rome.
No shit.
Yeah, it's kind of how I got into food, really.
What were you doing there?
Selling a lot of hash.
No shit. It's like what, Midnight Express in it or what?
No, I studied abroad there, and then I loved it so much that a couple years after college, I went back just to kind of go. Mm-hmm. It's actually like right after the 2000 election, and ended up being a tour guide at the Forum with some buddies. We just had a black market operation. But when I first, so I kind of grew up around food in a small way. Like my grandparents had a garden. They lived in Pasadena near Houston, and my grandfather was a shrimper and a hunter. And so he'd always have fresh shrimp or venison. We ate wild squirrel, which I never knew was like a weird
good?
thing. Yeah.
Isn't it growing up
it's
as a
like-
kid? You're like, oh, we eat squirrel. And then you
Yeah.
go to like school and in third grade, like, he eats squirrel.
You go to college in Washington, D.C., and people are like, what?
And then you're the squirrel guy the rest
Yeah,
of your
the rest
fucking
of your
life. Anyway, go on, squirrel
skipping over
boy.
7
Go on, squirrel boy.
7 jokes I'm skipping over. Fried squirrel tastes like dark meat chicken.
Yeah.
It's great. And so I had that connection to food growing up, but even like my other grandmother didn't know anything. Like her contribution to the culinary arts was a fried Addy and a Totino's pizza that she would then throw Kraft singles on at the end for that extra
nice.
cheesy top.
Yeah.
But like that was her.
Bone
active-
apple teeth.
and she
When
smoked-
I take the frozen pizza and I rearrange the pepperoni and it's like the picture of the guy from The Bear just kind of standing.
Yes, chef. And she's smoking 2 Palmel filterless cigarettes. But it was like her way of being like, it was her way of like trying to comfort us or show love. It's like, hey, I know you like cheese.
Yeah.
Bang, here's
There
a
you go,
Kraft
man.
single.
Don't tell your grandpa.
Exactly. He was dead. Yikes. But so I went to Italy and we got off the bus and we'd spent a week in Siena and everybody kind of went off to our apartments, and then my buddy who has been living there for like a year was a sculptor, and he was like, come with me. He's like, my apartment's over here, come with me. And I was like, all right. So we go over, and he lived in a
condo overlooking Campo de Fiori, and we walked over, and the market was still set up for the day, and he bought a bunch of fresh vegetables, and then he went by the butcher shop on the corner and got meat, and then he went by the bakery and the pasta shop and got fresh pasta, and we went up and smoked a joint and started playing backgammon, and he started working on a sauce, and we spent 4 hours having lunch, and I was like, fuck, like, this is amazing. Like, buying the fresh product all from right there, taking it right upstairs, smelling it, just taking your time.
But like not even like the fresh product. It's like the fresh pasta, the fresh butter, the fresh cheese. It's across the board.
The tomatoes.
Yeah, tomatoes, everything.
The garlic. The olive oil.
It's like when you go eat in Northern California, the food just tastes different. It just tastes different, man. So different. And everyone's like, oh, the food in Northern California is so boring. It's like, no, it's not. It's what it needs to be.
Yeah.
Like unpretentious, that tomato just came off the fucking vine probably like an hour ago. It wasn't on a truck shipped, put in a fucking warehouse,
It really is all about ingredients and kind of not fucking things up. And of course, more complicated stuff takes, different levels of technique and thought and whatever. And even using simple ingredients and minimalization takes thought.
It's harder. It's so much harder to cook. I mean, I always say cacio e pepe is the hardest fucking dish to master. And even sometimes now, I still fuck it up sometimes, You don't have the emulsion right, temperatures aren't right, and there's nowhere to hide when you have 3-4 ingredients.
Yeah, I mean,
there's nowhere to hide. It's all technique, I
mean, you go eat at Da Enzo or some of those places in Trastevere that are making carbonara and like some classic Roman dishes, and it's just like, why does this taste 10 times better than it does everywhere else in the world?
But then you go to like some chef-driven restaurant, it's like a filet with foie gras and truffles and salad and fucking lobster, and there's so much room to hide because it's just like an overload of like flavors and ingredients as opposed to like a pasta with 3 ingredients and the emulsion has to be perfect and has to be served at that particular moment.
Yeah, and you're like, am I going to shit my pants before I get to the bathroom?
Yeah,
maybe that's just a me.
That's a you thing.
Maybe a me issue.
Yeah, you should get that checked out.
And so I kind of fell in love with food there, and like growing up, and I never really thought much about this, but my brother-in-law grew up in East Lansing, and I guess he's married to my sister, and he always thought my family went out to eat a lot, and I never really thought much about it, but like, yeah, we did. We went out to eat a lot, in part because my mom didn't love to cook, but we'd go to Ninfa's for Mexican food. We'd even go like James Coney Island to get a hot dog after every baseball game. We'd go to Brennan's downtown for like a special meal or after church, or we'd go to Brenner's Steakhouse out on the edge of West Houston, or we'd go to Rosnowski's to get a cheeseburger. Like these places where food meant something and they were served in specific environments and served by people that had connections to the food. And so I think I always loved dining out. I always thought that was really cool. Whether it was, and I just, I like people, I like hospitality. I think if I got laid off tomorrow, I mean, I'd need benefits because I've got, kids. That's why I hang out around playgrounds. But, I think I'd probably want to work in a restaurant or be a server. And my favorite job before the job I have now as restaurant critic and reporter at the Statesman was working as a server at Old Glory Barbecue in Georgetown, Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Man, I love interacting with tables. I love touching tables. And the food wasn't that complicated. But we made 6 different barbecue sauces that represented different barbecue regions of the country. And I'm not a huge barbecue guy, but, and we had the biggest bourbon, apparently at the time, allotment on the East Coast. That was back before bourbon was, cool. It was
right.
Like 25 years ago.
Collecting bottles.
Yeah. And we had like 100 bottles at the time. And if you drank an ounce from every bottle, over a period of time, you get your name on a plaque above the bar.
So celebration of alcohol.
Exactly.
Great. Yeah.
So
fill me up, buttercup.
But I love hospitality. I love food. And so it was Italy. It was working working at a restaurant in DC. My first job out of college was working as a host at Papacito's, which is one of the great Tex-Mex restaurants in America. The Pappas family, based out of Houston, I remember their manual was like page after page. And like, if you showed up, as I assume servers were the same thing. As a host, you had to wear a white Oxford shirt, and you had to show up with the dry cleaning tag still on your shirt, so they knew that you weren't wearing the same.
Gotta be kidding me.
Which is a bit much.
That's a bit much.
But shit is tight. Like,
Yeah.
it worked.
Yeah.
And you knew what you were getting. And they had their shit dialed enough, like, you could go eat Papacitos fajitas in the Dallas airport, and I know that they probably didn't run it because it was probably somebody whoever runs the airport concessions or whatever. But like same recipe, it's probably like pineapple juice and soy sauce, like, and that they're just standards.
But all those places you named were all mom and pop restaurants.
Yes, I don't have
Are they still
any.
there? Are any of those places still there?
Ninfa's went through a big family thing, and now part of the family runs El Tiempo in Houston, which is a really great Tex-Mex operation. James Coney Island is a corporation, but they still have a few locations. Rosnowski's is gone. Brennan's, is owned by a family from New Orleans, is still there. Brenner's Little Steakhouse is this little tiny steakhouse that looks like it's from 1954, and it's right underneath Spaghetti Junction of all these highways, and it still exists.
Nice.
But it's, in an undesirable location in terms of like real estate for restaurants. But yeah, I don't have any great memories of corporate restaurants. We had something called Pappy's in our neighborhood, which as I got older, I realized, it's just like kind of a Chili's knockoff, but it was locally owned. It was called Pappy's, and it was my favorite fajitas in the world. So I guess somehow I grew up going to like locally owned places without recognizing that they were locally owned, but that was obviously the expression of the service and the hospitality that was going on. And I mean, there's, I've been doing top restaurant lists in Austin and writing about Austin restaurants for, more than 12 years, and I've never had a corporate owned restaurant on the top 25 list.
Why would you?
Right.
It's not something to write about.
No, but we're lucky in that regard. But, I worry about hospitality in general in terms of, we lost an entire generation of service workers, I think, because of the pandemic.
Yeah, definitely.
And when there's people that realize that they could monetize making friends and that they could get a real estate license, or not that that's easy to do, but when they found other avenues of like, I don't have to like work 70 hours a week and like.
Well, I have a theory on Gen Z. I think that they're opting out of the American dream, we'll call it,
Right.
And they're saying, fuck this shit to the machine. And they're not getting involved in the 9-to-5 jobs. They're not going to college. They're paying for experiences. If they're going to go to college, they'd rather spend that money on going backpacking across Europe.
Yeah.
They're spending money on experiences. They're not placating the I'm going to go to college and get a degree and then I'm just going to do something else. They could be a YouTube star, a YouTube celebrity, and make millions of dollars.
It's great.
They're not buying homes because, well, obviously they can't afford it. They're not moving out. And I think that they get a really bad rap. I really do.
No, they're amazing.
I think they're amazing. I think that if anyone's going to help fix the problem that we're in, it's going to be them, because they're going to be like, this is fucking bullshit. All this stuff that we were promised, all this stuff that you and I were promised, it's all fucking, they're saying it's all bullshit. And the boomers are yelling at them because they're not involved in all this. And they're saying, well, this is a house of cards that you set up. And you guys are controlling all the money, and you want to die with all the money. So why would I enter this game if I know that I'm going to lose? And you and I were too far in the game, and they're going to steal Social Security away from us. We're just being like, oh, fuck it, I guess we're on Social Security now. And we're too far gone,
Yeah, I mean, I think Gen X, we spent most of our lives, being disgusted with boomers, but it was more just like a quiet aggravation with the system.
I agree.
And then millennials kind of were fortunate to be distracted enough with all the bells and whistles of the ushering in of technology that it kind of didn't resonate with them as much, and they kind of went along with everything because they were too busy being distracted. And so Gen Z is probably the first ones that are like, all of this is stupid.
Yeah.
Let's break all of it. It doesn't work for anybody.
Definitely. I agree.
And so, I mean, my coworkers are almost all millennial and Gen Z because of the fact that my newspaper doesn't pay enough for people my age to have families and live in this city. And they're incredible, and they bust their ass. The ones that choose to go into the workforce, the standard as we know it, 9-to-5 workforce,
bust their ass. And I
they're
think
hilarious.
Yeah, and they get a bad rap, but they have a 30,000 foot view of everything.
They're dialed in, and they have all the data from Gen X, millennials, and so on, and boomers. They have all the data to be like, yeah, we're not doing this.
Yeah, I mean, the funniest thing is that we died on that hill of. Have you read Klosterman's book about the 90s? Mm-mm. That's so amazing. But Gen X was all about selling out was the greatest sin, and now selling out, that's not even that's the goal.
That's the fucking goal, man. Like, I want so bad to open 5, 6, 7 little offshoots of Iggy's and have Olive Garden come in and be like, here's $50 million. Like, yeah, thank God, take it.
Yeah.
Here's the recipes, go.
Yeah, like, what am I gonna
50, I would have done it for 2.
Right. What am I gonna do? Make carbonara for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I wonder,
where did that change happen? Where do you think that change happened? Because it was admirable to just die with the ship, and it was selling out. It was Pearl Jam against Ticketmaster, and now face value Pearl Jam tickets are $490.
Right. It was the internet and social media, I guess, and also because selling out became more like you were selling out because you had an opportunity to do something for yourself, whereas selling out in the past meant you were being co-opted by something.
But why
there seems to be more autonomy behind the idea?
Yeah, why aren't we raging against the machine? Like, where is the anger at everything that's going on right now?
At our dinner in about 15 minutes.
I agree. Quarters all levels. We'll rise.
Dos mezcal and mucho aggravacione, por favor.
Keep guacamole coming till we pass out.
Bury me in it.
I don't know. What a quagmire of a world that we live in right now. I don't recognize it anymore. And every day I wake up, we used to be a proper country. Every day I wake up, we get further and further away from Jesus.
That's what the memes are for.
Yes, I mean, could you imagine if we didn't have memes? It's the only thing keeping me going. That's how I find out about my news. I'm like, every time I see a meme, 3 or 4 memes, I'm like, whoa, and then I got to go and research what did this asshole do? Oh, shit. That's how I found out who Andrew Tate was, through memes. There was a meme that said, how I sleep at night not knowing who Andrew Tate is. And I'm like
great.
Who the
Now
fuck
I gotta
is Andrew
Google
Tate?
Andrew
Now,
Tate.
Now I know who this guy is, But yeah, what would we do without memes, man?
Now you're making Andrew Tate memes, probably.
Pretty much. And, they've been done before.
I mean, I don't know. I think the thing that everybody talks about these days is that you just try and get smaller and try and enjoy your day and the people around you and touch grass and make friends.
Yeah, smaller is the way. Yeah, everything. My life has definitely gotten way smaller since the pandemic.
And I do feel, and I'm in a new era of my life. I've got a 1.5 and 3.5 year old, so I'm meeting new people socially because of kids groups and school and stuff like that. I do feel like people are more engaging than they were a decade ago or 6 years ago or maybe even 6 weeks ago.
You think?
I think when they do engage, I think people are looking at people in the eye. I think of course a lot of this is political and being looking in the eye of somebody probably that you hope is like-minded.
Yeah, right. You never know. You're getting yourself into.
Right. But I also think people are realizing, I might not. I think also some people are getting a little freaked out, being like, if you just look at the raw numbers, maybe I don't know some people as well as I thought I knew them as well. So I think it cuts both ways. But I do feel, and maybe it's just because I'm getting older and I've always tried to be fairly available and vulnerable and real with people. But I think that, as you get older, you realize how much of the bullshit you hang on to earlier in life, whether it's your conception of yourself or conception of other people or society or what matters or protocol or social dogma or whatever, it's all bullshit. And so as long as you're respectful, just trying to put yourself out there and have a connection is all that you should be trying to do. And it doesn't mean you need to make friends with everybody you meet, but I feel like people are looking for more honest connections. I feel like there's less looking at phones when I'm around people than there was 4 years ago. But again, I'm older. I'm terrified to think of what it looks like as my children get older. Like I it's so sick that like it's like my daughter, like if she sees me drinking a soda and I'm just like, no, that's not for you.
You can't have this. No,
like no, Dad's
for me. I'm from a different generation.
Yeah, I'm beyond hope.
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm broken.
I got one foot in the fucking grave.
Save yourself.
Man. You have a chance.
Right.
Save yourself.
Right. So,
stay as long as you can.
Right, and it's true. Like
Yeah.
I think about my kid getting a phone, and I'm like, they should never get. Nobody should ever get a phone.
Nightmare. It's a nightmare.
Because
and when that was that documentary that came out, The Social Network, and they're like, yeah, I created the iPad. I would never let my kid have fucking social media. I would never let my kid have electronics.
Right.
My children don't have electronics. I'm like, you fucking created all this, man. Like,
you're gonna be the only thing that'll save you is a discipline that you can only get from spending a sober weekend with 8 bros in an Austin condo with a vegan chef
playing poker
for
high stakes
and making friends.
high stakes that don't involve money. And making friends. We're going to cut it there, man. The most ridiculous podcast we've done so far.
Good.
Matthew Odam, thank you, man. If people want to check out your work, where do they go?
The Austin American-Statesman. I'm on, God, I hate to say it. I'm on Instagram.
Ah, burns!
But that's where links to my writing go. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to give an X handle, but I'm on Instagram at Matthew Odam. But the Austin American-Statesman, still one of the great daily newspapers in America. We're still doing what we can with the resources we have, and I'm proud of the work that my coworkers do every day. And
right on.
I love being able to tell the story of Austin restaurants. It really is an honor and a privilege, and it's something I take really seriously, and I've loved doing, and hope I can keep doing it.
Well said, brother. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, man. It's been a blast.